Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our today's webinar, Deep Dive into Audit Software. We start our program with the recitation of the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Ladies and gentlemen, technology has significantly impacted our spheres of our lives. Many professional works have been transformed by technology. Audits are no different in that impact, and technology has greatly enhanced their efficiency, accuracy, and compliance. Automated systems minimize human error, ensuring consistent and accurate audit outcomes, while standardized processes and templates further enhance consistency in documentation and reporting. Technology also ensures compliance with regulatory requirements through built-in checks and updates. And advanced risk assessment tools allows auditors to prioritize high-risk areas effectively. Using audit softwares offers numerous advantages that significantly enhance the efficiency, accuracy, and overall quality of the audit process. One of the primary benefits is the automation of repetitive and time-consuming tasks. Advanced analytics capabilities of audit software allow auditors to handle large data sets and perform complex analysis with ease. This session today is focused on one of the audit softwares, namely Smart Audit, and our presenter will conduct a comprehensive training on use of the audit software. I would now request for the opening remarks to our Council Member and Chairman SMP Committee, Mr. Asad Firoz. Mr. Asad Firoz is a fellow member of ICAP, Fine Institute of Taxation and Management, serves as a technical advisor in professional accountancy, organization development, and advisory group at IFAC. He is the founding partner at Junaidi Shoaib Asad Chartered Accountants and SECP Certified Director. With 20 years of experience in multinational and local sectors, he chairs our SMP Committee and CPD committees at ICAP. He is part of the ICAP Council for the term 2022 till 26. So I request Mr. Asad Firoz for his opening remarks. Please.
Thank you very much, Ajlal. Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome all of you to this webinar that has been specially arranged for all of you. We do understand that now technology is coming in big time in our profession. Ajlal, am I audible?
Yes, please, clear.
Okay. So I was just saying that technology is coming big time in our lives and especially in our professional lives. So at SMP Committee, what we have done in the last 2.5 years, we have actually introduced many programs for our small and medium size practicing firms. We started off with SMP Audit Skill Enhancement Training, which is a basically cradle to grave program of external audit, right from pre-acceptance of audit to the audit finalization and its reporting stage. Then we also did our program on forensic audit. That was another training. Then Ajlal was also mentioning the digital aspects. We actually got guidance and help from our Vice President who chairs the tab. She's also with us today, Ms. Khurshid Kotwal, and we actually arranged a different program for our SMP firms, and we thought that RPA, robotic process automation, is also the need of the hour, and we did 2 days workshop in three major cities in Pakistan. And again, the repetitive task and the time that they take, the whole efficiency factor that comes in with the use of technology, I think we also use that as well. Then we have planned another program that was on advanced Excel, Power BI, and Microsoft Query. That was also very well received program. We have almost trained around 380 professionals in this program, and by September, I think we would be almost training around 700 professionals in that program. So I think we have done a lot of work as far as these programs are concerned. And now this program that is coming in is very important because again, external audit is a big reality for all of us. And we all understand that external audit plays a pivotal role as there are so many regulators attached. Now we have got Security and Exchange Commission of Pakistan. We also have Audit Oversight Board. So as practicing members, we have to look into our own quality assurance department and its reviews as well. So there are three-tier review system that we are looking at this point of time, which is very cumbersome for our members. So what we can do as far as the SMP committee is concerned is that we can harness your skill set, harness your team's skill set, and we can build you towards a site where you can actually manage all these regulations. And the best way to do in terms of external audit is by use of an audit software. That is the reason our SMP committee decided that yes, it's time that we embrace audit software. We started off with this journey. Ajlal Saab spearheaded it from ICAP, and we actually looked into different audit softwares. And for ICAP side, we do not recommend any particular software. For us, all software vendors, accredited, used throughout the world, are acceptable to us as long as they are following the international standards of auditing. We have yes given you option where we were given discount by one of the software vendors who will be speaking to us today, and on basis of that we have given discount to our members that who come in and apply and get that software. We will also give a certain subsidy to those smaller firms as well. Now it is becoming mandatory for firms who are doing audits of public interest entities to use an audit software. So it is high time that we start understanding what is the audit software, how it is to be done. If you ask me, the benefits are huge if you use an audit software. Time you will take for an audit in a manual environment would be different, and here it would be different. And again, for a partner review, for a peer review or a EQCR review, again with ISQM coming in, again, these things would be becoming much more easier as far as if you're using an audit software. However, there are certain challenges which we must look into, and that is the reason we need training for that. And we cannot just jump into the audit software. We have to prepare ourselves and our teams for that. And the first thing to do is that we download trial version of the audit software and we start implementing it on a previous year's file. And we just ask our teams to be geared up for that and see what are the problems are. Then consult with the concerned vendor or talk to Ajlal Saab here. He can also help you out. But again, technology would be specialization of the specific vendor, and they would be actually guiding you much more on that. So it will actually help you with your team building. Actually you will be actually employing less resources if you're using an audit software, and you would be more effective in terms of your time management as well. You would be effectively doing more jobs, more audit clients in the same time. But again, the team and the partners and the staff members have to be really geared up for that. So with this idea in mind, we have planned this today's activity. I hope and I'm very sure that you will find this activity very useful. So without a further ado, I will take you back to Ajlal Saab. Thank you, Ajlal Saab.
Thank you, Sasa, for your insightful remarks. Now, I would like to request our Honorable Vice President, Ms. Khurshid Kotwal, for her remarks. Ms. Khurshid Kotwal is dual qualified fellow chartered accountant and corporate secretary, offers over 30 years of leadership in FMCG, textiles, and academia. She chairs ICAP Digital Accounting Insurance Board, serves on boards like PIPFA and Pakistan Microfinance Network, and founded Asman International. Formerly, she was part of Unilever as Corporate Finance Director and Chief Auditor. I would over to Ms. Khurshid Kotwal, please.
Thank you, Ajlal. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Asad Firoz, Chairman SMP Committee, Zishan Ijaz, Vice President, Mr. Ali Latif, and fellow professionals from the CA fraternity. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you. First of all, I would like to appreciate this excellent initiative by the SMP committee and our very active Asad Firoz to do this program so that you get an opportunity to deep dive into the audit software, in fact, do a little hands-on training to gain an understanding of the software. The future of auditing is actually changing significantly. We do understand the technological advancements that are happening and it's impacting all the professions. Realizing this and there are impacts on the regulations and the shareholders' expectations, etc. The key trends, digital technology trends that will impact the auditing profession are also artificial intelligence and machine learning. Yeah, so it's going to be much easier. You'll get quick answers. You want to know something about IFRS. Already, some people are reaching to me that, we've made this software where IFRS can answer all your questions. And of course, then there is data analytics. And now, actually, what is happening in the auditing profession is you can slowly move into a continuous audit. So audit is not just a once a year kind of an activity, or say an interim audit. You can continuously audit by monitoring key trends and identifying abnormal trends, or reviewing or analysis can be done. So slowly the profession is undergoing changes, and it is possible now to continuously watch a client and give them guidance as well. Then, of course, we have cloud computing as well, blockchain, RPA, most spoken about, but you can really simplify your work. And of course, the globalization and standardization of the work as well as of the profession. So there is a critical role because of this evolution of the audit software, and it is shaping our profession because it brings in more credibility in the work that we do. And globally also, if you see, the survey shows that about 75% of the audit firms around the world are now using audit softwares in their audit processes. And the benefits are phenomenal, of course, being improvement in the quality of audit, your risk assessment, fraud detection, process automation, data-driven insights, and of course, compliances and audit planning. So of course, that means that major lapses can also be identified in the financial statements. Frauds can be detected, data breaches can be understood, fraudulent transactions can be identified, cybersecurity threats or weaknesses, and numerous things can be identified. Now, a number of countries have made it mandatory as well for the audit software. Brazil, it's mandatory for public traded companies and financial and for the audit software. China, Russia, and Turkey, again, it's mandatory. India, mandatory for some countries. And considering all these facts and the technological developments, we at ICAP in 2022 also agreed the need or evaluated and felt that there was a need for a software, an audit software, which will now be mandatory from June 30th, 2024. Initially, we were also thinking of maybe we should make our own audit software. And I was involved in the evaluation whether we should be making our own software or buying it online, or buying it off the shelf. And what we concluded was that, it is much cheaper and easier to actually buy the audit software rather than to prepare something from the scratch. So now we have good arrangements in audit software. We don't mind which audit software you're selecting, it's up to you. But there are some good audit softwares available, and ICAP has also made arrangements for its members. And there is a regulation now for Directive 4.29, and it now becomes mandatory for public interest companies, to those that are auditing to use the audit software by from June 30th, 2024. Like, so see, whenever you do an implementation of a software, there can be challenges and issues, okay? And the first, so you will also encounter such feelings or sentiments amongst your own teams, in yourself as well. And that is the resistance to change. Anything new that comes, people are a little bit hesitant to change their old habits and old ways of working. But I think we all need to upskill ourselves and, try and adapt to these changes rather than be left behind. So, if you want to run successful businesses, you will need to actually learn these skills. So it's not just good enough कि मुझे chat GPT के बारे में पता है और I understand data analytics benefit. It's like how much can you use the technology? So the emphasis is, and there is no age for learning, okay? At any age you can learn. You may be a fast learner or a slow learner. It shouldn't worry you, but you should keep on learning, keep on upgrading your skill sets. So so you might find that you might are a bit hesitant about your skill sets, but clearly this is the message I would like to give. The other thing is, of course, you may face in the software some technical issues at times, some glitches, some data quality issues, and some trainings and all might be required. But please take interest and use these. In the long run, they will be significantly beneficial. Now, let me tell you a bit about the ICAP Digital Technology Board also, and how this can help you and in what ways it's been helping people. I do see amongst participants some of our people who've taken the training. And the important thing is that to understand that your institute is also taking this in the forefront, and it is a matter of priority for us. We, the Digital Assurance and Accounting Board, um, is a public interest board in the sense that whilst we focus on accounting and auditing matters, we open our doors to everybody to come and learn from the trainings or whatever activities we are doing to help people. So we get a lot of international participation as well. And we have two signature programs, which I believe that to the audit profession as well, or especially for the SMPs as well, this will be a great opportunity to learn, and this will help you in your audit as well. One is, of course, the data analytics program, which you can see on your screen. So this is a very comprehensive program we've made. It spans almost over 4 5 months, but it's an easy program in the sense that it is done keeping in mind, or it is made keeping in mind that professionals are busy and they're mostly available on weekends or timings that are flexible. And then we also have this ease that we are giving manuals for people to study. If you've missed out a lecture, you can get the video recordings and you can progress into it and really learn and benefit from this program. So a lot of people have been trained, still they're getting trained. There's a lot of excitement on this, and I'd highly urge you, because this is the top skill to acquire, one of the top skills, I should say. And from around the world, it is well appreciated. And we have participants coming in from Canada as well as all other Middle East and other places as well to participate in this program. The other program that we have now, again, this is very useful for your auditors, is really, this is like your IT audit. Okay, we call it the Technology Assurance Certificate. Very useful for giving consultancy on IT audits. IT audit is a rare skill, or I should say, it's a skill not generally available to the chartered accountants, at least through their curriculum or through their normal training. So this is a program we've built for people like the SMP, which can be on an equal footing with people who have maybe other resources available for their knowledge and development. Like, so this is a great opportunity. When I was in Unilever and we were doing Sarbanes-Oxley implementation, there was such a shortage to find IT auditors or for somebody to verify our IT systems and all. So again, a great opportunity. I think in the future there's going to be a lot of scope. So it is, and this is a short program. So this is just a 1.25 or 1.5 month. Again, over weekends, for 2 days, half days, like and you learn the various aspects. Now, the way this has been made is that if you see some of these international training like CISA, etc., you will find that this is specially made for chartered accountants or for finance professionals, whilst all the others that you find in the market would not be specific to your needs. These are specifically designed with case studies, with experts, with mentors, with guides as well, who come and who also give practical industry knowledge as well. So we have a lot of mentor concept as well, where people are called in to share their thoughts on what's happening, how they have been seeing this area. So a lot of knowledge and information you can build on. Of course, now, hopefully, when the new scheme comes in, we are looking at and evaluating how our new chartered accountants are well equipped with some of these technologies. So, but for those that haven't gone through the training, I'd urge you, look at the brochure, look at the manuals, keep on seeing ICAP's website and our activities on of the digital board, and you should be able to learn something. Also, in addition, we also do several webinars, like we did recently on generative AI, like, how do you use as a finance function? So a trainer from the UK gave a hands-on demo on, how for your making of your financial statements or for your preparation of the financial statements, etc., how you can use generative AI or how you can review your financial statements, and the AI does quite a bit of your work. So, these are some of the things we need to start looking into and start trying to do these things. So, by combining the power of audit software with these expertise like data analytics, you will definitely enhance the quality of your audits. It will help you in improved decision making, and most importantly, also help you to be competitive in the market. Like, so do keep your technical skill sets and your knowledge up to date. Like, and with that, I would like to now end my speech with a thank you. And I am very happy that all of you are spending time and taking out the time to learn and develop your skill sets on audit software. So good luck and all the very best.
Thank you, Ms. Kushil, for your insightful remarks. Now, I would like to request Ms. Shreya Setia, the Chief Operating Officer at Smart Audit. She is a chartered accountant and holds an ISCA Financial Forensic Accounting qualification as well. She brings over 7 years of extensive experience, having worked at audit firms like PwC and EY. Her expertise spans strategic operations management and forensic financial accounting. She would be the session leader today. So over to Shreya, please.
Thank you so much. I would like to extend my gratitude to ICAP to, let us present the system and give us an opportunity to interact with the fraternity. I remember taking a session last year on this training, and after that, we have had gone through a lot of upgrades in the system. The feedback questions have helped us a lot, and we have been able to give what users were looking for. So I'm sure this session, even if someone has attended last year, would find it very useful. I'm sure there would be some participants who have not attended any training sessions before. So for them, I would just like to give a brief introduction. So Smart Audit is a Singapore-based company. It's built by auditors specifically and primarily focusing on small and medium sized practices so that they can digitize and improve their audit quality. And keeping in mind that our focus is on SMPs, we have made our system extremely user friendly as well as compliance at the same time. So that's how we have designed our software. And I think here we don't need to discuss about the need and the importance of digitizing because everyone is now very well aware of it. But I do understand, based on our experience of implementing the software in a lot of different form, I understand these training sessions helps a lot because it's not only about partners understanding the workflows, but it's really, really important for the team and the junior team members to understand the workflows and get comfortable with the software. So we have I'm sure this training session will be helpful for a lot of people. And I would like to set up that how the training session is designed. Basically, I would share my screen and go you through that what steps we will look into. All right. So okay, so first we will start with setting up users and managing the access because that's how you get started with the new software. And then we'll see how you can set up your clients and manage your clients' master data. And then we come to the most important part of the audit, which is how you perform audits in the system. And along with the audit workflow, we will see what all supporting features are there which can help you improvise the quality, efficiency of the audit system. And then we see how you can generate a report draft from the system. And finally, after any job is completed, how do we archive the job? So this is how our training is structured. It's a very short overview, but since we are going to start, it's going to be a like 1.5 hour session. So I just wanted to give you a brief that how it is structured. Now I'll share my screen. Yeah, and we have also had some time for the question and answer session. So after we are done with the training session, we can take the questions. All right. So Smart Audit is a cloud-based software. This is a website where the users can set up their firm account to start with the audit. So here they set up and they can log in into the system, and this is our landing page where you can see all the engagements listed here, right? You can see the status, what stage they are. So basically, this is primarily your all jobs along with the real-time status. So to get started, first is that you should give access to your entire team so that they all can log in and access the same firm account. So here is the staff page where you can add your team members. Now here we have given a specific role based access feature where every team member can be given a particular system role, and accordingly they will have access to the system, because you would not, there are independence, confidentiality, a lot of requirements which we have to comply with. So not everyone in the firm should be seeing all the jobs or all the engagements. So for that we have system roles defined. So here sign off rights, review rights, prepare rights. Clients can be given access so that they can collaborate with the client for exchange of queries or data requirements. And then we also have a feature where even the external regulators can come on the platform and review the specific audit files. So that can be used by read-only rights. So here, the important part I would like to highlight is that what particular system role you would like to assign to that person. Now, along with the audit program, we also have embedded practice management features into the system so that everything can be at one place. So you can manage your engagements along with planning and scheduling. You can assign your team members. You can see where they have been plotted for a particular job. You can manage timesheets. So weekly timesheets can be filled up. Each timesheet can have a billable and a non-billable breakup. Timesheet also as a part of requirement of quality management standard. We also want to demonstrate that how much time we have spent on the review part, or how much time partners have spent. So this thing helps you to demonstrate that. Now, under the activity, you can also select whether it's planning, fieldwork completion, or how much time has been spent on review. So this has been designed keeping in mind the requirements specifically for auditors to demonstrate the review and quality management features. Now, this is about onboarding of staff. Now, once you add your team members here, they receive an email from Smart Audit to set up their password, and using their email ID and password, they can log in into the system. So each one of your team member will have a unique email ID and a password, so they can log in and have the access which has been given to them. Now, that is about the staff page. Second thing, we would want to onboard our clients. This is my client dashboard. In one look, you can see how many clients you have. You can see the client contacts, what all licensing authorities are there. You can add particular remarks for the client so that all of your team members can see anything specific you want to communicate. Permanent file update, permanent file like client master data. So this is your customizable dashboard where you can just select what all you want to see on your dashboard. There are many forms with 3 or 4 audit team members, one partner. You may not want to have the leads column, so you can just remove that. So this is fully customizable as per your preferences. Now, this is how you add the client. Assign a client ID, client name, and then you can assign the services which you're going to provide to that client. Now here, the important part is to assign the service, because in this system, you can also create assignments which are like non-audit engagements, which generally a CA firm provides to the clients. So you can just create different assignments. So just select the services which you want to provide and some more details. And then you can also set reminders in the system for your upcoming jobs. So once you set up the client, you can set the reminder. So you can see the reminders can be set here like this, and your upcoming jobs will be shown here. So basically you can manage all your due dates. Now, once the client is added, you can just click on the client and set up the client's permanent file. Now, when I say permanent file, as the name suggests, it's like your client master data, which doesn't need to be changed every year. It is only if there are any changes during the year, you can just change that. Otherwise, it remains permanent. Uh, it includes areas like company details, entity type, industry, date of incorporation, applicable standards, regulations, all the client contacts, other notes, KYC screening. So, if you are doing the AML screening or Google searches, basically your client due diligence procedure, you can add the details here. And here you can append the relevant documents. So for example, if I have performed some screening or searches for this particular client, I can just click here and upload the relevant document. Now, there is also a due diligence form which you can fill up for each client at the time of onboarding or as per company's policy. So if it's each company may have its own CDD policies. So here, based on the nature of service provided, you can decide or you can fill up the customer risk factor, geographical risk factor, transaction risk factors with this client, and then you can rate the complexity and the risk level of the client. Now, when we talk about the client due diligence risk, we are talking about the risk of client acceptance. This is not an audit risk. And then you can conclude on the acceptance of the client, and this form can be signed and then printed and kept for your documentation purpose. So this is where you can perform the client due diligence procedures. Then comes all the other data of the client like shareholders, upload their relevant documents at the right place. So the need of referencing are gone. You can just upload the document right at the place where it is required. So a lot of work which goes into the referencing is eliminated. Directors and executives, you can upload ID proof, address proof, key relationships like key customers, suppliers, bank accounts, loan agreement, and all the company's documents can be organized in a very systematic fashion with this permanent file. So you can upload your constitution, certificate of incorporation, business profile, group structure, every year's annual return. So this permanent file helps you organize the client's data in a very systematic manner. And if you want to have more, for example, if you also provide some other services and you want to store more data in this, then you can also create your own placeholders here. So that is about setting up the client's master data. Now, once the client's master data is set up, you are ready to create an audit engagement, which is known as jobs in the system. So as you can see, I have this many jobs right now. This dashboard again is customizable based on what all data you want to see on your dashboard. You can track the target date. You can see if there is any target date which is approaching closer. The system will highlight that, okay, the target date is approaching. Now we just see how we create an audit engagement. Yep. So here you select the type of engagement to be created and just name the engagement, select the client. Then under the template, we have introduced more templates. So based on the recommendation, previously we did not have this limited review. So now we have introduced limited review template, agreed upon procedure, group audit template, and the standalone template. So this is where you can select what type of template based on the nature of your audit. And here also, this is our normal audit template. But if let's say your entity is extremely small, it doesn't have any transactions during the year, there is no change, then you can also select less complex, and then the audit program will be even more simpler. But this has to be used very with caution. Each firm has to have its own policy that when they would want to use this particular type of template. Then just select the currency, set up the period. And here, the most important part is giving access to your team member. So at the beginning of the session, when I mentioned that you can give specific roles to the team members, based on that role, you can give the rights of this particular file to the team member. So here, partners can be given sign-off rights, prepare rights can be given to any of your team member. And then if there is a if you're you have added a client under your team's page and given them client portal access, then you can also add them here. And if you have a regulatory review coming up, you can assign them this right. So you can see here read only access to the file. So these accesses can be managed even later also after you have created the job. And then we have a embedded report drafting module in the system where we give you a template on which you can do your draft workings. The basic notes are created by the system, and then based on the client's requirements, you can add on more notes. And there are standard templates given, so you can just select that template. This template actually comes from the library. So if you want to make some changes in the master data which has been provided by Smart Audit, you can do that in the library so that all of your team members can use that particular template in all the jobs. Now, and then you click on proceed. So that is how you create an audit engagement in the system. Now I'll open a partially filled file so that I can show you how a work in progress file will look like. All right, so this is my audit homepage, particularly this. So here, this is the period of audit, and here I have all the audit sections. So this is the audit program, and which will be populated based on what you select at the time of job creation. So I have created a standalone job. I will show you how this workflow is designed. Before that, I would like to highlight that as you see this permanent file, this flows from the client directly, so that when you are auditing, you don't need to juggle between the client page and the job page. You can just refer it here and update it here for your current or updated information. Now, this is the home page where you see all these sections. These are, you can expand and see the subsections here. This is your prepared, reviewed, and signed off status. Here you can see all the documents which have been attached, and you will be able to see the job activity, that what is being done, who has prepared what, and signed off. Now, talking about the workflow. So we start with client acceptance procedures. And in case it's an existing client, then you use the continuance procedures. Then we have risk assessment. So after I've decided to continue with the client, I perform the risk assessment, and based on my risk assessment, I develop the audit strategy. So to break down the risk assessment, here we have, first is I obtain the understanding of entity in this environment, and then internal controls. Based on these understanding, I define my risk levels, and control. Based on the control understanding, I also decide my control risk, and hence it gives me the risk of the sections. And then we have some more procedures which can help us assess risk, which is like review of statutory record, analytical review. So when you upload the trial balance in the system, you can also do the variations ratios analysis. Then we have fraud risk. Based on all that, we set up my overall materiality, and then the strategy. And I document my minutes of meeting which I conduct with the team. So this is my planning procedures. Then we have some general procedures like opening balance testing, estimates, judgment, test of unusual transactions, journal entry, general IT controls. So this is our new module. Even our risk module is also upgraded, keeping in mind the requirements of updated ISA 315, where the risk and controls have been focused a lot. There has been a spectrum of risk which is being followed. We are following the risk factor. So this is the new risk module which we have implemented last year to comply with the ISA 315 requirement. And as you can see previously, we did not have a separate section, but now we have introduced a separate section for general IT controls. Then recently we have also introduced some additional programs which can be done only if these are applicable. So we have introduced this engagement quality review checklist. So if any of the engagement goes through the quality review by any reviewer, they can fill this checklist. Then we have all the execution sections like PPE, investment property inventories, cash and bank. Each section will have the same workflow. First will be the lead schedule, showing the breakup of my financial statement item. Then this is my audit approach. For each section, I will have a audit approach, which is kind of my planning part. Then I have field work, disclosure note, and the conclusion. Now here, the purpose to keep the disclosure note here is that we observed that practically people are doing the field work audit and doing the report drafting at a later stage. So sometimes there are so many non-monetary information which needs to be disclosed, and there are some workings which need to be done for the disclosure note. So we wanted that disclosure note should also become a part of my audit program so that I don't miss on any important information which needs to be obtained or understood from the client side. So, and then you have a conclusion where whether the cash and bank section, let's say, for example, is correct or not, and have I found any material misstatements there. So this is how each section is designed. And then we have completion steps. Under completion steps, we have the testing of subsequent events. Then there are some general steps where I perform the reassessment of going concern, reassessment of materiality, anything which has changed significantly when my plan after I started the audit or after I've done the planning. So accordingly, I'll just reassess them. Evaluation of misstatement, and all the minutes of meeting and some other sections. So this is how it is designed. We have planning, execution, and completion steps. Then you can upload trial balance in the system under financials tab. So once you upload that, there are a lot of things which are automatically generated based on that. So I would like to show you first how TB on the TB part, and then we go to the work papers. So this is where my TB is uploaded under the financials tab. We have an import option. We have recently upgraded this functionality as well. So you can just upload the TB. So I've already uploaded one. Yeah. So basically here you have the option to upload your TB. The TB has to be in an Excel format, and are detailed videos which have been created to understand how you can upload the TB. And then you can just map which column is account code, account name, current year, previous year number, and you have to confirm to upload the TB. So it's a very simple process. We have given tutorials here where whenever a new person is coming or a new team member comes, they can always self-learn to use the system. Now, once the TB is uploaded, you can map the you can map your GLs to the respective balance sheet and P&L grouping. We have a machine learning algorithm built into the system where the system will learn and remember the mappings which you are doing based on the GL code and the account name. So once you do the mapping, the next year the system will remember on its own. Here after you can do the mappings, and you will see here are my current year balances, my previous year balances. And once the TB is uploaded, your balance sheet is prepared. So as you can see, my balance sheet is here. You can expand and drill down up to the GL level to see what all mappings I have done for that particular line item. And you can change the view from net assets view to the total assets and total liabilities view. So we have multiple formats of balance sheet. And then we also have profit and loss as P&L by nature or P&L by functions. So you can switch between the views. Now here you can actually expand and see how much is the variation, and how much is the variation, and also you can see which areas are material and which are immaterial. So basically this is a summary coming from all the sections, and you can have a dashboard view of which of the material sections, any misstatements coming in a particular section, wherever there are major variations, you can just see them here. Now after this upload of TB, your variations and ratios are also calculated. So if you see here, these are my variations. I've come to variation of profit and loss account. Here, the variations are calculated, and wherever I find that the variation is unusual or not as per the expectation, I can write my reviews here. Preliminary review or final review. If there are major adjustment, you can also do the final review. And then we have variation by balance sheet. And then the system also calculates the ratios. And you can see the details of each ratio here, how they have been calculated, and you can write your analytical reviews here. So there are activity ratios, solvency ratio, liquidity ratio, income ratios, and even the Altman Z score to assess your going concern. So these are all automatically calculated when you upload your TB. So basically TB is the starting point here. Now, one more thing which happens when you upload the TB is the generation of lead schedules. So we will see one section today. As I highlighted earlier, each section is designed in the same manner. So I come to the lead schedule. You can see the detailed lead schedule, and you can expand and drill down up to the GL level. See which of the sections are material. So the red flags basically denotes which are the material sections. Any comments, you can upload the relevant files, and the review points. The review points we'll see in detail. So this is based on your TB upload. And then see, you can upload you should upload the TB as soon as you receive it, basically even before starting the planning part, because the variation or ratio or some analysis is required for the risk assessment as well. Now, once you upload and do the audit, you might have a lot of audit adjustments. So you can pass the adjustments in the TB. Here, all your adjustments will be listed. You can just click on add journal. There are two types of journals which you can pass. Sometimes, when the client agrees, you want to pass the adjustment in the trial balance, or sometimes you may not want to adjust in TB, maybe because it is below your trivial threshold, or the client is not agreeing, or you just want to accumulate it. You can select not to adjust, and then enter some details, and your entry will be passed. Now, when you are adjusting, you can select whether it's a reclassification, whether it's an audit finding, a corrected misstatement, or whether it was passed by the client later or after they have provided you the TB. So you can also pass it as a TB adjustment. Hence, it won't be considered in your misstatement evaluation. And even when you select do not adjust in TB, it can be factual, projected, or judgmental. So accordingly, you can classify your entries. Even all these entries can be printed in a PDF or document manner so that you can communicate or discuss with the clients. And once you pass the entry, it will be reflected in your trial balance, and hence all the places where it can have an impact. Now we go to the audit program. Each audit program is designed with a pre-populated checklist. And here, if we come to the client acceptance and continuance, where we have the questionnaire. This is a filled file, so you can see, you can just fill it here. Your team can fill it here. So for client acceptance, we have like engagement terms, due diligence, appointment change. Whenever there is a change in appointment from one auditor to another, and you have gotten the client as a change in appointment, then you have to follow certain things or have to perform certain procedures. Those are given here. technical capabilities of the firm, whether you are technically capable to deliver the assignment or not. Independence requirement. So we have a detailed form on independence as well, which your team can fill up. And even individual independence confirmations can be obtained for each team member and can be appended here as a document. Now, for each step or audit task, you can add the relevant supporting document. So here, for example, if I'm working on the engagement terms section, I would want to upload my engagement letter. Just click on add attachment, browse and upload, select the relevant document, and it will be uploaded here. And you can see the attachment is here. And since this particular section is a yes no checklist format, you would also want to add comments. So you have the option to add comments here, and your comments will be reflected like this here. Then this is, as you can see, this is a program provided to you by Smart Audit, right? That's basically the standard audit program. Now, there are many cases where you would want to customize this audit program as per the requirements for your firm policies or the local regulations or the regulators who are governing the particular company. So this whole program is customizable. One, as you can see, these contents, anything which is not particularly applicable for your job, you can remove that, right? So it doesn't become a part of your program. Now, anything which you want to add, for example, let's say there are client acceptance and continuance procedures as prescribed by standards of auditing, but there are some internal forms which you also fill, as a part of your acceptance procedure, or you want to upload your relevant, if you want to have your own checklist uh, added here, you can add more sections. So let's say I'm adding a subsection here. So it's a very, very useful feature, not just for your audit engagement, but if you're doing any other engagement in the system, then you can digitize all the assignments which you're doing for any particular client in your firm. So basically all the firm engagements are at one place. Now here, let's say there is a form which your firm fills internally. And you want to add that form or digitize that, you can select whether it's a yes no checklist or it's a descriptive checklist. So just select that. You can add your steps here, or you can simply upload your Excel file and a quick checklist will be created. Yeah, so you can see my checklist is created. It has become a part of your audit program itself. Now your team can fill it. So that was about the customization of the contents of the audit part. The second comes the customization of the audit template itself, where we have given you the task. So basically, you can add more steps, you can delete steps and edit more steps. Obviously, edit and delete are restricted and are logged in the file activity so that no one is deleting the steps when they should be performed. So these are all the features which you can perform on any particular task. Once any section is done, your team can mark it prepared, right? So I have filled this whole section, but if let's say something is not filled up, the system will give a prompt that these sections are not filled up and it will highlight in the red. So basically, your team member will not mark it prepare if it is not completed. Now, once it is prepared, you will see that on the home page, there is this prepared status updated on a real-time basis. So this is prepared. Now manager will know that they have to review, and once it is reviewed, the partner will know that I have to sign it off. So the manager can come and review it, and then the partner will come and sign it off. Now, whenever there are reviews going on, the team member, the manager or partner can assign the review points. So here review points can be added and assigned to the particular team member who has performed the task so that they can resolve it. So here I can assign the priority review point has been added here. Now, as you see, there are a lot of sections and a lot of places where you can add the review point. So all these review points get compiled here under the review point tab so that you can have a dashboard where you can see the status of all your review points at once. And even let's say these are my review points, you can track where they have been added or which step they belong to. Now the team member can respond here and the review point status can be closed, it can be submitted, the priority can be checked here. So this is how you can manage all your review points. Now the second thing is that whenever see, there are multiple team members working on an audit client. So sometimes someone is doing the meeting with the management, someone is doing the meeting with the employees. So they all obtain certain kind of information, and there could be some key information which is very, very critical for the audit. So in this whole documentation, that information should not be lost, because even when there is a review, there are reviews on when you are closing the audit, you would want to see that what were the critical points and how they have been dealt with. I think that's the most important, to see and document that how they have been dealt with. So what we have done is given an option to add the key matters. Now, these key matters can be provided by the staff member to their partners to obtain the guidance on how they should proceed on this matter, or it can be provided by partner or manager to the team member to specially focus on that particular thing. Let's say I notice this thing. I can assign it to the team member. I can set the priority of it. And then all the key matters can be seen here, right? And here there can be a documentation of what next steps to be done and how you have to deal with this particular matter. You can see the priority, what type of matter it is, and then the conclusion can be added where sometimes there might be some information which doesn't affect the audit. So you can say no action needed included in management letter, qualification or adverse reporting required for this particular point, any difference of opinion which you observe, uh, something which, refer in extra, a lot of points which come in the audit which you need to refer in the next year. So you can just mark them so that you don't miss them in the next year. Anything which you want to communicate to the management. So I would say that this is a very, very important points for senior managers or partners to refer before they go to the conclusion meeting, or final meeting with the clients to discuss and close these matters. Now this is about the key matters. One more feature I would like to highlight here is that as a part of quality management, the logs and everything is very important. As you can see that the system is keeping a log of who has prepared it and when it was prepared and who has reviewed it. Now it is all so when the partner signs off, we have this control that the team members won't be able to edit this section anymore, so that there are no changes or updates done after partner has signed off. There might be possible cases where it is required, then they have to approach the partner to unsign it off, so that the purpose is basically that changes should not happen uh, without the notice of partners. So that is also a feature here. Now we move to the risk assessment part, which is a very important and critical area of audit, and is now very, very focused upon. And the ISA 315, which is is nowadays, very important to follow in any audit. So we start with obtaining some information on the client. What all information needs to be obtained is like given here, for example, background of the entity structure, laws and frameworks applicable, what is the impact of breach, what are the controls, related parties. So what all are the related parties, nature of relationship, types and values of transactions entered, significant developments during the year, previous year findings, financial performance indicators, If the client is using service organizations, then what steps the auditor should perform. So all those are given here. Now these are all based on my inquiries with the client. I'll document that here. And sometimes what the staff is doing that, sometimes the manager is doing that. And in this, we feel that sometimes the important information or the critical risk factors are lost because it's descriptive. So what we have given is a detailed risk factor checklist based on each parameter. So if I'm assessing the background, we have given a checklist which your team can fill up. For example, how is the business economy, like whether it's stable, less volatile? How is the expansion plan, whether it's expanding slowly? Um, Objective goals and strategy. Are there any new products being launched? Is there any major change in the business strategy? All these your team can fill up. And the system will summarize if this particular client has high risk factors, low risk factors, or medium risk factor. They may not necessarily lead to a risk, but these are the factors identified based on my understanding of background. Similarly, we have structure, laws, frameworks, related parties. So we have this checklist for all the parameters. Then comes the internal audit, internal control understanding. So I understand about the control environment, management override, entities risk assessment process, information system, very important. What all IT systems are being used by the company, what type of information is being generated, and what is the reliability of that information which you're obtaining from that system. So sometimes we get a lot of reports based on which we are auditing, or we are considering that those report as the population, but what is the reliability of the data, we don't know. So those things have nowadays become very critical because each company is using some sort of a IT system. So this is a very critical area. Then we have control activities. Now one thing I would like to highlight here is that, as you can see, understanding the entity is about the whole company. When we talk about the control activity, each area will have its own control activity. So you can just click on the process flows. You will see here all these areas are given. And let's say I want to assess the control activities of cash and bank. I'll just click on the process flow. I come to the developing audit approach of cash in bank. Now the reason here that see, I could have done it here as well, but we gave it in the internal control understanding because it's a planning step. So you should be doing it at the time of planning. So I first understand the process, which business cycle it falls to, what is the process flow description, what type of accounting entries are being passed in that particular area. So generally, these things are not common, but we have specially given it because as auditors, it is very important for the staff or the auditor to understand that what are the usual entries which are passed, because then only you can identify the unusual entries. So this is here. And now two things here. Sometimes the client is so small, you cannot rely on the controls, but basic understanding you still have to obtain. So you can perform the design test, and if the client has controls and you're planning to perform the control test, you can enable and document the detailed control testing here. So basically, it depends on your client that how much extent of or depth you want to go into the control testing. Accordingly, you can customize this program. Now, this is about cash and bank developing audit approach process flow step. I go back to B2 and I perform it for all the sections. Then I have monitoring of controls and conclusion part. Then I come to identifying and assessing the risk. Now, when I have the understanding of the company, its internal controls, and I also identify the risk factors which this company has, these all get accumulated at one place so that I don't miss on any important risk factor to cover in my either financial statement level risk or assertion level risk, right? So risk assessment can be done at two places. One is financial statement level risk, second is assertion level risk. Financial statement is overall. So so as I mentioned, right, that we are primarily focusing on SMPs. Now the client base which the SMP has, there are some risks which are always there, which we have pre-populated in the system, like risk of management override, lack of qualified personnel, weak control environment, or risk of fraud, going concern issues. These risks are pre-populated, but you can add more risk. You can delete the risks which are not applicable for that particular scenario, and you can also edit the risk. So here you can, if let's say something you want to modify, you can do that. So here is your risk assessment table. Now, first we have to assess the likelihood and magnitude of the particular risk to understand the inherent risk level of the client. So based on your client understanding, you assess whether your likelihood is. Uh, so we have a scale of 5. The lowest can be rare, and the highest can be very likely. The frequency and magnitude can be from trivial to extreme, basically the impact. So based on your understanding and the judgment, you have to select the likelihood magnitude, and accordingly there is an inbuilt risk matrix which will give you the output of IR level, as high, medium, low, or critical. Now, second is the control risk. Now, two possibilities. If you're not relying on controls and not doing any controls, then your control risk is not applicable, and your IR is equal to risk of materials misstatement, as you can see here. But let's say if you're doing controls, you can select your risk level based on your control testing, which we did in the process flow where I showed you the detailed testing procedures. So you can assess your risk levels. Now, accordingly, it will give you the ROMM. So if you're doing controls, you can also add your control here, right? And then you can customize this table. So whatever we have given are most mandatory, like you have to do them. But let's say if you want a detailed breakup of like process, sub-process, risk control ID, so you can customize this table as per your requirements or based on the simplicity or the complexity of your client. I have this design and implementation assessment. If you are assessing the control risk, then obviously you need some basis for that, and that would be your design and implementation test. So this is how you can just customize this table. And since this is the financial statement level risk, you have to assign the overall FS level risk as high, medium, low here. Then comes the assertion level risk. Now, assertion level risk is for, you have to assess for each financial statement audit area. So here, this is a dashboard summary of your assertion level risk done in each section. So what we want is the partner or the manager to have a better visibility of what has been done and documented in each of the sections, right? So here, let's say I go to cash and bank risk profile. Right. Now you will see I'm again on this developing audit approach process flow we had already seen. We are on the risk profile section. Here the risks are also pre-populated, again customizable. The controls are also mapped. You can see if any other control is applicable or if any given control is not applicable. You can change this and assess the risk level, and it will give you the ROMM. And then assertions are also pre-mapped. But if you want, you can change the assertions. Now here, let's say if you're not doing control, you would not want to have this complex view. You can just hide the controls view and focus on the risk, because my control risk is anyway not applicable. So this is how you can just um, look at your risk table as per your preferences and the requirement and the nature of the client. Then any of the risk, right, if you find is a significant risk or a fraud risk, you can simply highlight it here, because if you document in each section, it might get lost or it might not catch the eye of the partner or the manager. So just highlight that here, and when you go back to this section, the system will highlight or summarize how many sections has significant risk, fraud risk, what all assertions are covered, and what is the highest level of risk for this particular section. So here you can have a summary view, and also for review purpose, if you want to see whether the planning part is completed or not, generally you would need to go to each section to see that. But here you can just quickly see that, okay, I'm not filled up for this. So this dashboard gives you an overall view of the risk assessment process. Then, as I told you, some more procedures you can perform to identify the risk factors. Variation and ratio analysis on unadjusted numbers is given here. You can do that. This and this analytics are same. It's just that we have embedded or integrated in the workflow so that your team understand why it is being done and at what stage they have to do it. Then we have the work program for the fraud risk factors. So we have given a checklist for factors also, that if any of your team member identifies that these fraud risk factors exist, they can accordingly assess the fraud risk. Internal controls, they can assess what all controls could be possible, possibly mitigate the risk. And then you can also document the minutes of meeting with the fraud risk officer. Whosoever is appointed as a fraud risk officer, the meetings can be conducted and the documentation of minutes can be done here. Now we come to the most important part, that is the materiality part. Now here, first you have to select the benchmark. So we are on overall materiality, that is the financial statement level materiality. Based on the client's nature, you have to select the benchmark. Everywhere we have given these guidances that how you can select the benchmark, what can be your basis. You select that, justify the criteria, and the system gives you a so based on the predefined recommended ranges, system will give you the that what should be the materiality for this particular client. It comes from your TB, and then you have the flexibility to add your own overall materiality amount. The reason being that it gives you a range, and you have to decide based on the client risk levels, understanding of the client, complexities involved. You can set your materiality amount. If let's say you want to do some adjustments in the numbers for some reason, you can also upload or append your documents. Then we have trivial threshold based on your materiality. So it will give you a range and you can just select your number. Now this is how you set up the overall materiality. Now there is a system in the developing audit approach of each section. You can also assess the performance materiality for each section. So as you see, process flow we had done when we were doing the internal control section. Risk profiling we have done when we were identifying and assessing the risk under B3 section. So now here I am, my overall materiality is set, FS level risk is set. So accordingly the system gives me the performance materiality. This is the risk factor which we are using to calculate PM, taking the base of OM, that is overall materiality. Now, as you can see that performance materiality we are calculating for each assertion, but practically all the firms are not, you know, not using the assertion wise materiality for each audit section. So we also have this option to have to assign one combined assertion level risk for particular section, and accordingly it will give you the risk level. So based on this materiality, your lead schedule will highlight that whether any of your GL is high above PM or not. And it will even highlight in this analytics section as well. Now, this was about the materiality overall and the section level. So here, as of now, we know the risk level of each area. We know the materiality of each area. So I would go and devise my audit strategy. Again, audit strategy, two stages: overall audit strategy and the section wise. So when I say overall, it includes like the scope of the whole audit, what are the deliverables and timeline, what are the major key judgments used in this particular audit, key audit areas like revenue recognition, inventory valuation for this particular client, initial assessment of going concern. You can attach your workings or documents for that. any expert involvement if expected. So these are all we're doing at planning stage. uh, Engagement, team, and budget. So most important thing is that your team should be capable to deliver the engagement as per the expectation. So here you have to evaluate whether they are competent or not, and then you can set a budget based on your team assignment. And then we have section wise audit approach, which is like more granular audit approach, that what I have to do in each audit area. Again, this is a summary dashboard. As you can see here, there are some assertions popping up. These are the assertions which I have selected in my risk profile, which are already being shown here. And the green ones are those where I have already selected or mapped the test, an audit test. So this dashboard gives me an idea that my audit planning, first of all, is not complete because I've not covered all the assertions here, right? And it also ensures that whatever assertions I've identified in my risk profiling or at the planning stage, I do not miss to cover any of the assertion in my testing. So this dashboard is actually very useful, and it automatically takes care that you are not missing to comply with some assertions. So I go to the design approach. Yes. So here I have the audit approach. All the assertions which I have selected in the risk profile are populated here. I don't have to do any manual work. The audit objective will be mapped. Now I have to devise my strategy based on my discussions, understanding of the entity, client nature, that whether I'm doing only test of details, or I'm combining it with analytical procedure, or I'm doing the test of control effectiveness. So accordingly, I can design. And then for each assertion, I have to select the test. So we have embedded more than 90 tests in the system. I'm sure you will find the test here, whichever you want to perform, like for example, for cash in bank reconciliation, confirmation, cutoff, foreign currency, physical cash count, interbank transfer, fixed deposit, everything is there. But in case it's a industry, very specialized industry or a regulated industry where you also need to check something else, you can add more tests. So you can see here, you can add more industry specific test, which is only applicable to that particular client, or a country specific test that, any regulation, your regulator requires you to perform this, you can add those tests. So you can see, oh, I have mapped these 4 tests. Similarly, you can map for all the assertions. And here under the section wise audit approach, you can see the summary. So cash and bank, I've only selected for one. Now here you can only see that test is mapped, but you would also want to see whether it's correctly mapped or not. So you can expand and just review here itself. So this dashboard gives you all the information of audit strategy. And then minutes of meetings. It is important and as also required by the standards that you should conduct planning meetings where you should discuss, and also as a requirement of quality procedures, you can do the meeting and document its minutes. So we have also given you that ideally in a engagement team meeting, what all you should discuss, and what all should be your consideration points in those meetings. So accordingly, you can document it. But anyways, it's all editable. You can add more. So this is my planning part. I have accepted the client, I've documented it, I understood the entity internal controls, I know my risk levels and know my materiality and what all tests I have to do, all those I know. So now we move to the audit section. So for cash and bank, for example, as I showed you, lead schedule is prepared when TB is uploaded. So this we don't have to do anything. Only if you want to upload some documents or write some comments, you can do that. Audit approach was already done as a part of planning. It's just that it gets documented at the right place. So whenever manager or partner are coming to review, they see the entire cash and bank thing together in a proper workflow. So now I directly jump to the field work. Now here, you can see there are some green tests which are highlighted. So these are the tests which I have planned to perform in my audit strategy. So at every step, you don't need to move to and fro to see what was planned, what was whether I've covered everything or not. The system will take care of it. We have these general steps. Then we have this bank reconciliation test, confirmation test. So each test follow the same structure or format. One is the sampling. It's a very important part. We have a sample size calculator inbuilt. So in sampling, there are two parts, right? One is that you would want to know how many samples you should do for this particular test. And second is which samples you have to do. So here we are talking about the sample size calculator, that how many samples you have to do. So here I just click, I can see which assertion is test relates to, what is the PM of this section, and then I enter my population details. So let's say this is my population. So for example, I have to enter the number of items in my population and the amount, and also the items which are already above performance materiality. I give this or feed this into my data, and accordingly it gives me the sample size. Right now, sample size, as you can see, there are three options. One is when you are only doing test of details, when you are doing TOD plus SAP. Third is when you are combining your TOD with SAP also and test of controls also. So you just select based on your strategy or what you have decided, you select this. But if you have own methodology also, that can be accommodated, or you want to add more, comfort for the test over what we have given. So let's say you always want to do more than what we have given, then you can just add 12 samples I want to do, write your sampling amount and add it. So this is your sampling summary. You can always attach your population or workings here. Then comes all these are the audit steps. So for each audit test, we have given the test format, or I would say the test steps which you should perform to do the procedures. Like obtain the bank request letter, how you should test the confirmation, what if the confirmation is not received. So your team just need to fill up. This is basically we are eliminating this is a manual step where team members used to write that what all steps I have done, and then manager needs to read all the steps, the partner also need to read all the steps whether they have covered all or not. So we have standardized that, and if anything is not applicable, they can mark not applicable. But if they want to add more steps, they can definitely add. So this is my procedure, and here is the sample documentation. So here if I have this bank confirmation, I will just document my sample here. So we have given the standardized format for each test to, ensure that the correct and all the relevant information is being documented in the sample testing. So generally, when I'm documenting the sample, I might miss to document certain information which might be relevant later. So we have given these formats for all the possible tests. Now, I have samples. I know what steps to be done, and you can see what all samples are being done and what parameters I have checked. Now it is possible that you find a misstatement there or an error there. So you have the ability to add the misstatement in this test. So I just select that, okay, in cash and cash equivalent, I have found this quantitative misstatement of 250. So I can just keep on documenting it. I cannot evaluate the misstatement right at that point in time. So I'm just accumulating my misstatements test wise. So here you can see, if you don't find the misstatement, so basically you have to always enable. It is not a mandatory thing to fill. So each test you have to perform like this, right? Now, I was in field work. So we give disclosure note in between, but I would like to show you the conclusion first because I just now showed you the misstatement part. So all the misstatements which you find or accumulate in the test will get accumulated here, and you can see how many misstatements have been found. There are different tests. You don't need to manually see and add, right? You can see which test the misstatement is there, and then all the adjustments which you have passed. So as I showed you, there could be audit adjustments and there could be uncorrected misstatements which you can document as not adjusted. So all those will be compiled and shown you here, and then you can just compare how much uncorrected misstatements are there, and you can mark whether your uncorrected misstatements are above PM or below PM. So basically, this whole step is automated. All you need to do is whether it's above PM or below PM. And then you have a checklist or to ensure that you have performed all the items in your as planned, and whether you have found any major misstatement or not. So this is how you conclude on a particular section. Now, before, so all the sections will follow this particular format: lead schedule, your audit approach, based on your audit approach, your fieldwork, and based on your fieldwork, your conclusion, and then the disclosure note. Sorry. For disclosure note, yes. So we were here. So as I showed you that when you are creating a file, you have the option to select whether you want to use the report drafting or not. So if you enable, then only this will show up, otherwise this will not show. So the system prepares a basic disclosure note, that is the breakup of your financial statement line item along with the comparative numbers. And then you can add more workings on the top of it. For example, if let's say this particular client has foreign currency balances, then you would want to show the breakup in the disclosure. So just assign or give the segregation of the currency here. Oh, sorry, I have to add it. So I can just add the note here, and it will be reflected in your disclosure note. So here I am just designing my note. Let's say there are no restricted cash, I can remove, I can add. You can add more text, more tables, and then you can also add some more notes which are not given here or is a special case. You can add those. So this way you can design a disclosure note, and it's really good that while the partner manager are reviewing this, they can together look at the note, so that at the time of drafting, you just have to scan very fast and your report drafting process can be more systematic. Now, this disclosure note, as you can see, is a standalone separate note. So all these notes which are there, for example, PPE note, right? PPE note, then we have inventories note, right? All these notes gets updated in your report drafting. So under drafting, there's a tab called report drafting, right? Here, now this is the entire content of your report drafting. Like you start with director statement, independent auditors report, financial statement, financial position, that is, your balance sheet, and the note referencing will be done. Comprehensive income, uh, cash flows and changes in equity. So this cash flow and changes in equity draft flows from your financials tab here. Yeah. So now here you can edit if you want to change the text or something. Now, let's say if I show you the independent auditor's report working. So if let's say how your opinion is, whether it's unmodified, qualified, accordingly you can select and write your description here. Right. Now, these are all your notes as I showed you in the content section of audit program, which is customizable. So this is also customizable. For example, you do not want to start with or director statement, but you want to add your own statement or a general information page, you can add more and you can also remove this. Now, these are all the notes. So if I show you the cash and bank note, which we had prepared by adding more, so you can see this is automatically fetched in this report. So similarly, all the notes when you prepare will be fetched there. And if you, let's say, choose for some reason that I don't want to do it at the stage of audit program, but I want to do the report drafting separately only, then also you have this option. So you can directly come here and do the workings. And once this is done, you can export it in the Word format. So this whole report together can be exported in the Word format with all the formatting options available in the Word. So this is how you do the report drafting in the system. Now, since I'm on report drafting, we recently launched a update where you can now customize the chart of accounts. So previously what was happening is that sometimes, I'll just give you an example that inventories, for example, the people want to call sometimes as stock, or let's say they want to specify what type of inventory it is, right? So those kind of small tweaks they wanted in the chart of accounts. So we have also introduced this feature where you can add more levels, like you can add more levels or more categories of chart of accounts, and also you can rename the chart of accounts. So how to do that, we have given tutorials here. So this library section is also recently introduced. I think this will be very, very helpful, especially when you are on your trial period. Because in audit firm, as you know, there would be new people coming in. Existing might leave some time. So there cannot be a training session every now and then within the firm. So we have built this self-learning platform where the team members can come, and whenever they are doing this, they can just quickly watch the videos. So it's something new which we have recently introduced. And this customization of chart of account, this can help you generate the financial statements as per your preferences, like, or sometimes as per the client's preferences. So this was about the report drafting. So basically we have covered all the subsections in the particular financial statement line item. Then we also have more section like related party. Yeah. Okay. So related party, for example, so there is a detailed audit program on how you can test the related party transaction, what all you should see. So those are also given here. Now, after all are done, you come to the completion procedures. Our completion procedures consist of subsequent event understanding, like process understanding, that how the client does it, and then your audit program, that what all documents you should see to understand if there is any subsequent event exists or not, and then you can document what all you have found, why you want to classify it as adjusting, non-adjusting, everything is given here. And then, as I mentioned at the beginning of the session, the general step is almost like the assessment procedures, any significant development, going concern reassessment in detail. There's a detailed checklist, what all factors you can consider, which sometimes we don't know when we are at the planning stage or when we are starting the audit. Then we have reassessment procedure for independence. Obviously, independence at the time of planning, at the time of completion, both has to be complied with. If let's say you have passed a lot of adjustment and you think that materiality might have been changed, you can enable materiality reassessment. Just enter your new benchmark and your new materiality level, the system will highlight where it has impact. So based on this, your performance materiality will also be calculated for final level. And here under the balance sheet, obviously you would not want to go to each section to see where my materiality is impacted, right? That becomes manual exercise. So here you can see your balance sheet, you expand the view and see whether there is any change in the final materiality. So if there is a major change, then only you need to perform the procedures. Then comes your communications with management and the people charged with governance. And then comes the evaluation of misstatement. So I showed you that you can keep on accumulating the misstatements or errors which you find when you are documenting a particular test or doing a particular procedure in each section. But you also want to compare it at an overall level to compare it with your overall materiality. So for PM, we are doing it at in each section. Now all those will be summarized here under this table. So based on whatever adjustments you have passed, your corrected and uncorrected misstatements will be summarized here. And based on what you have selected, whether it's above PM or below PM, it will highlight it here, whether it's, exceeding your materiality or not. So here you can see this misstatement summary, and here you can document your evaluation. Then there are some meetings which should be conducted and which are generally conducted at the time of completion. One is internal team meeting before finalization, and the second is finalization meeting with the management. So we have the formats given here, and what all points you generally, or I would say, should discuss in your final meetings with the client. Those are given here, and the internal team meeting. So here we have this internal team meeting consideration points, which you can definitely customize. Then we have audit report considerations, final deliverables, um, and audit highlights, reappointment checklist. If any key highlights you want to note down, you can note down here. Otherwise, I would like the best way is to um, all the critical matters identified should always be documented in the key matters tab, so that this serves as a summary of your all the major points. Right. So this is how you manage, you do the assignment from planning to completion stage. Now, one more thing, the most important and a very useful feature for the auditors to manage their day-to-day operations is the client portal. The client portal is a collaboration tool where the auditor can send their data requirements and the queries to the client through the system itself, and the client can also respond through the system itself. Two ways. One is, we can't force the client to create an ID password for the system, right? So you can just add your queries here, right? Once you add the query like this, its default status is ready to send, and you can just select and send to client. Now, one is that you just send it to the client email. The client will receive a link of these queries, of the selected queries. They will open a form kind of thing, like similar UI, and they can just write their comments and add attachments, and this will be received by the client. Um, I can just quickly give you one example. For example, these queries, the status for which is requested are the queries which have been sent to these two people. So there is always a recipient shown, because all the queries you can't send to the uh, to all the members of the client. So you have to restrict. If in case you want to restrict, you can do that. So let me just quickly show you the what happens when you receive the query. Okay, let me just quickly send it. And you can set a due date. So basically, one of the most important part in audit is receiving the client data on time, and like and receiving the responses for the queries on time. So let me just respond to one and I'll show you how it works. So see, this is the email which your client receives. This will be the name of your firm and the name of the person will be shown who has sent it. These are the requests which I have sent. They can click on this link, and when they click on the link, this particular page opens up for them. So your client does not see anything else except the queries which you have sent. So now here they can write the comments. And they can add the attachments. Mostly if it's a data requirement, they would want to upload the documents. And they can submit. So this is how your client will interact with the client portal. Now, since I'm on this page, yeah. So you will receive notification. So there is a notification management in the system for wherever you are assigned a review point, wherever the file status changes, wherever you have been assigned to a new engagement, you receive notification. So similarly, if any of your client request or query has been responded, the notification will be received. And here you can see the status. So here, even the client request notifications can be seen separately and the review point notification can be seen separately. Now here, I can always filter out the requests, review these responses. The client may give the data which might not be what I expected or might not be relevant for my audit. So you can always write your comments, upload your sample, and then re-request the queries if not as per your expectation. Otherwise, you can just close the request. So as a partner or manager, you can always come on this page to see what is the status of your client queries. If everything is received, then the relay is from your end. And even this can be tracked, that when it was initially requested, when the client responded. So you will have a track of the all the queries. Now, when you're starting a audit, there are certain set of requirements which are very standard. You always need to request that from the client. So instead of adding them manually one by one, we have given a initial request template which is in the library. So when you click here, yeah, you can see there is a list of all the possible client requests which you can send to the client. So you can simply select from here and start your audit to, initiate your audit with the basic client data requirements. All these requirements which we have given can be added by, you can customize them under the library. So under the library, you can add your own requirements or you can edit the requirements which we have given. So that this process becomes gets standardized as per your firm requirements. And this is how the client portal is managed. And now here, as you would see, right, in each checklist, you have multiple options to attach documents. You have so many, at each and every step, you can append a document. So you cannot go to, if you need to find a document, you cannot go to each section and find it. So under attachments, you can find all of your documents. Uh, you can see where they have been linked to. Okay, so let me show somewhere here. So you can see which particular step it has been referred to. Then each document can be reviewed and signed off. But there are a lot of documents, a lot of supporting files, a lot of workings which goes into these attachments. So there is a separate review and sign off for these documents as well, right? And there can be discussions, there can be comments, there can be some notes written for these documents. Now, the most important thing I would like to highlight for the documents is that we have integration with the Microsoft Office 365. So you can actually use the you can online work on the Excel online, save and just close. So you don't need to every time download and upload. So this integration is really helpful for seamless working in the system. So this is how you can manage the client portal. Then, okay, one more thing. You're doing the risk assessment in each section when you are doing it association-wide, right? So all the sections, risk and controls, you can find in the risk and controls tab. So it's a compilation from all the sections so that you don't need to jump from one section to another section. Now, we have this option to take the print of the entire file in PDF format, just in case you want to keep, you want to have a PDF version of whatever you have done. All the attachments can be downloaded in a zip folder. So this is just for, some management purpose if you need that. So this here, you will see on the dashboard where my review points are pending, whether I have attached a relevant document or not. And here you see the completion status of your entire file. So you can see I have just prepared one right now. Once all these sections are prepared, reviewed, and signed off, then you can change the status of the file as completed. Right. So here you track the manual status like, to start, in progress, under review, and then comes the completed status. So that's an important one because you cannot just claim a file to be completed if it is not. Otherwise, it becomes manual. So there are controls on this. So if all the sections are fully prepared, reviewed, signed off, you can mark it completed. As you can see for this file. Right. Now, so we have gone through planning, execution, completion, report drafting, client request, and not just request, but you can also send the draft financials through the client portal, right? All that is done. Let's say you received the signed audit report and your file is closed. So now how to perform the closing procedures? I changed the status to completed. You can see a timer of 60 days here. So basically, the firm can automate the archival process under the firm details. So obviously only the most senior partner can do this. So he can set a archival timeline that as per the firm's policy, we archive, let's say after 45 days or 60 days, whichever it is, they can set a timeline. And when you mark the file as completed, it will ask you for the final sign-off date of the client audit report, right? And when you enter that date, the system will run a timer and you will see which files are due for archival. For example, this, if I have marked it today, I have 60 days till this file gets archived. So this file, its status changes to archive. Let me manually archive it to show you. So once the file is archived, it becomes a read-only file so that all the other team members will not be able to edit that particular file. And this is how the archival works. So there is not I would say archival is not just a status in the system, but it's a whole process, and it has controls inbuilt that after archival, it becomes a read-only file for all your team members. Now, I'll just cover one more point before we take questions. So let's say I've completed the audit of this section today, this particular client today. Next year, I want to do the audit. All the uh, forms which I have filled up, the client acceptance procedures, risk assessment, understanding of the entity, my current year balances, everything can be rolled forwarded in the next year. So we have this roll forward feature. We call it clone in the system. We call it clone because we also allow you to clone from one client to another client, just in case you're creating a standard template for yourself so that you don't need to add something again and again. You want to have a standard template, then you can change the client also while cloning. So this is how you can roll forward the file. Your current year balances will go in the previous year balances, adjusted once, and then you don't need to fill these checklists again and again. Only that you have to ensure that all the changes in the new current year are considered in your audit. So this is how you start from adding the staff, giving access to your team members, adding clients, setting up your master data, creating jobs, understanding the workflow, creating the report draft, completing the job, and archiving the file. So that is how it is, till the file closure, it works. There are other engagements. Uh, if you select any other assignment, you can always, you know, two options. There are many other templates, as I mentioned earlier: limited review, agreed upon procedure, compilation, engagement. You have audit, we have embedded templates for them as well. But if you're doing any assignment which is not there, then also you can add a file in the system, and you can create your own program for that file once, and next year you can just clone that. So basically, it is, you can digitize and bring the engagements of the entire firm together at one place, so that you can use this jobs dashboard to track all your files. Yeah. So yeah, I think the demo ends here from my side. Um, Anything now? I think I'm ready to take questions, if there are any.
Okay, participants, I would request to please type your questions in the chat box and we will take it one by one.
Ajal sir, I think there are a few questions already there in the chat box. So if we ask the presenter to start answering them one by one.
Okay, I'll try to
I
capture.
think there is one question that is there given by Shahid Hussain Saab regarding recording of this session. Yes, Shahid sir, the recordings of this session will be available and we will be putting it on our SMP Knowledge Hub. And any of the members who want to review again this session, they can also do so. Ji Dal sir.
Okay, and then
So, shall I proceed to take the questions from the Q&A box?
Yes, please do
yes,
that.
please.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I think first question is that would there be any session regarding the software features, functionalities, and overall operational manual? So I think this session talks about the software features and functionalities itself. And whenever a firm signs up, we also offer them a demo, to that particular firm who is looking for a trial account. So if needed, we can organize a session specific for a firm as well.
No, but one question that remains is, do we have a manual made up if a firm requires that when they
Okay.
sign up with you or purchase the software from you?
Yes, yes. So, as I showed in the demo, we have videos, manual videos, which we have created to, which goes through all the processes and features of the system under the library section. So we do have that, and if needed, we can also give a PDF manual. But generally, the demo videos are more helpful because those are the live demo videos. Okay. Next question. I think recording question is already addressed, and then we have, will the software be able to prepare workings of IFRS 16, IFRS 9, and 16? So I think there are 2, 3 questions. I'll take them one by one. Good questions. So whichever for example, we're talking about expected credit loss calculation or IFRS 16 calculations of lease liability. So we do have tests for these. For example, if lease liabilities, you will find it in the relevant section, expected credit loss test. So the tests which I showed you, like substantive test tables and all, We do have it for these also, like lease liability testing, ECL testing. The only thing is that there are steps given on how you should test these, but the calculation needs to be uploaded by the user in their Excel format. The second is, can financial statements be downloaded in Excel file? So basically, you can download. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so under this financials tab, as you can see, there is this balance sheet. So you have the option to export this in, Excel format. But these, what we are downloading in Excel is the balance sheet, P&L, cash flow, and changes in equity. If you are specifically asking about download of report drafting in Excel, then we are not doing that right now. Okay. How many least number of licenses how many least number of licenses one audit firm needs to buy? Also, what's the discounted price for ICAP? So, our minimum, so basically our pricing is based on the number of auditors who use the system. So the minimum number of audit licenses required is 3, and the ICAP discount is 40% over the normal pricing. Is there any test drive available? Okay. Sorry, I missed to cover that. Now, after I have given you the brief overview of the system, um, we have this website which I showed you at the beginning of the session. There is this button to sign up for a free 30-day trial, right? So you can click on this button, enter your basic details, and like your firm name, partner. Sorry, it's logging me in. So basically, you have to click on this button, enter your email ID, password, set a password, firm name, country, and it will create your trial account. So you can, like after the demo, if you want, I can. Okay, maybe after the questions, I will also send a sign up link. Okay, ledgers for sampling purpose. Thank you for asking that. I think I missed to cover that. Okay, so I showed you that how you can calculate the size of sample, that how many samples you should be testing for a particular test on a particular population. But now we have also introduced a sample selection tool, which will give you the sample. Now for sampling, there are multiple ways, like monetary unit sampling or random sampling, systematic sampling. Now when we are doing the monetary unit sampling, it based on the amount where the biasness is not much. So what we have given right now is the uh, random sampling, where there's a lot of biasness involved. Hence we would want that the system should select those samples. So here under the data tab, you first have to select your type of file and upload the uh, like basically your population file. So you just map the mandatory columns. Sorry, posting date. Yeah, so this is how your population is uploaded, right? Um, Now here, whichever columns you will map, those columns will be uploaded in the population. Now, you can just name your population because there is not just one population, but there could be multiple tests with where you want to perform the sampling part. So let's say I'm performing my sampling on the expenses. Right. Now, see, this is the sampling tool where you can select whether you want to do the random sampling or the systematic sampling, and then you add the number of samples you want to generate out from the system. For example, if my system gives that I want to do 25 samples, I can just apply that here. But sometimes it is possible that this whole GL is not your, or the whole file is not your population, and you also want to have some conditions built in, you know, to restrict your population and the sample selection. So for example, let's say this is my transaction type. I want all my transactions to be of expense. Now, obviously, one way is to only upload the expense population, but just in case, I'm just helping you know the features available. So now the system will find the samples only from the selected population. So now I'll just, sorry, think. Do one thing. Mm, Let me check this. I think because of my network, I'm not able to click on it. But once you select the sample, you can click on apply and it gives you that many number of samples, and then you can just export the data. So that is how you can do it. I think there might be some font issue in my file because of which it's not allowing me. I can check the condition, but this is how after you have, so you can see this is my uploaded GL, and then you can export your samples out of the system. So that is how you can do sample selection. Then, so the next question is a specific domain email required for Smart Auditor? Okay, so basically it is not the requirement is not the specific domain email, but it has to be your official email, whatever you use for your business purpose. Right, so that is the email which you require. Many firms use Gmail or Yahoo. That is fine with us, but ensure that it's your official email. Um, then Okay, this is a good question. Is there any option to link the working paper with each other's? Like if we perform the working related to the loan in creditor and we want to give the reference in interest expense, that for interest working. Correct. So you can do that. For example, let's say I uploaded a particular document or a particular working file which is relevant at multiple audit steps. So you can just go there. Let me see it. That one is a. So when you click on add attachment, you have the option to link the existing files. So it will show you what all workings are available, and accordingly you can just select and link them. So you can say this is a linked file. So one file you have to upload only once in the system. can multiple laptops log in from the same email ID? Each user in the system has to have a unique email ID, because as you can see, there are a lot of places where we are maintaining logs, that who has prepared, when it was prepared, who logged the file, who deleted an attachment, who added a review point, whom it has been assigned. So basically, the system is maintaining the quality control through all these features. So it is not allowed to have a common email for multiple users. And since multiple users cannot use it, that means multiple user, but you can definitely log in, like one person can log in from multiple machines different time. For example, if I'm at home, I can still log in. If I'm at a client place, I can still log in from my email ID, but not the multiple users. Demo videos are available on the YouTube. So whatever we have in the library, you can also watch them on the YouTube. Um, okay, software. Okay, so this, how does the software integrate with the existing accounting system? So we do have this uh, upcoming integrations in the system. Right now, we are working on that. And how frequently is the software updated to reflect the changes in standards? It is based on the, I would say as and when. For example, because in our thing, right, like in the audit standards are applicable generally from a certain date, or whenever the amendment comes, they are generally come with the applicability date. So accordingly, we will update the system. So it depends on what is the update and when it is applicable from. Yes, so that is a good question. Is there any guidance or checklist on the JE testing in the software? So we do have it. As I told that there are certain general procedures which do not relate to a particular section. For example, opening balance. That way we also have the journal entries. So here we have the checklist that what can be the criterias, uh, for the selection of journal entry. So here are the steps which you can perform for journal entry testing. Okay. How to resolve them, like how to do the mapping if, there are a lot of accounts in the trial balance. Correct. So we have this feature where you can select the accounts together and map them together at once. So you don't need to map one by one, but you can map them together. So this will help you to map it faster. And next year, when you roll forward the file, the system will anyway remember the mappings which you have done. I think there are certain questions which are related to the regulations, which can be, I think, which are not related to the software. Can we upload balance sheet directly? No. I mean, you can definitely upload it as an attachment, but it will not have an impact. Like it will not flow into the system. So it's better to upload the trial balance. Hmm. Can we edit the Excel file already uploaded? So as I highlighted that we are integrated with the Microsoft Office Excel web version. So if you're using the MS Office account, then you will be able to edit it online without downloading it. Hmm. Can we upload the own prepared working papers in the fieldwork? See, in the system, documents and work files can be uploaded as required by the user. For example, if let's say you want to upload, everywhere we have the attachment option. So here, for example, you want to upload your workings, you can do that here. Or if specifically you want to talk about the sample testing documentation, then you can just go here If you don't want to use this format, you also have the option to attach the file at that particular place. So you can just click on the attachment and add your working paper here. If a firm purchases the package, can all the trainees have access or is there a limit? Okay, so it basically the flow is like that. The number of user licenses you buy, that number of users you will be able to add in the system. Now, it doesn't matter whether the system role which you assign is independent of that. For example, if you are adding two partners, three managers, four interns, then also you have to buy 9 licenses. If all are like 5 partners, 5 staff, then you have to buy 10 licenses. So it doesn't matter. It's just that the number of user licenses you will buy, that many number of users you will be able to add in the system, whether they are intern or not, or trainee or not, that is irrespective of that. Um, so one more question is on data security. There are multiple questions on that. So what I would like to highlight is that regarding the data security, we have multiple backups and our data is kept in an encrypted manner. So it is not possible to decrypt that data. And also we have agreements with our team members. And second is that our security policy is available on the website, the security and privacy policy both. And then one more important thing, that we are using AWS servers to store the data. So that is like a very good quality. So even the major top banks are using that database provider. Um, Someone has asked, like, if a firm has 50 member staff, will the firm need 50 licenses? So that's correct.
However, I think the firm can use it for any number of clients that it has. The number of members will have to be assessed by the firm.
Yeah. Attached documents need to be downloaded in the system. Can we open the document at website without downloading and then reviewing? So yes, if you are using Microsoft Office 365, that is the Excel, Word, then we do have integration with that. So you will be able to open it online version, edit and save online without downloading. So I think there's a question on how to access this webinar again. I think there is going to be a recording of the session.
Yes.
Okay, so there's one more important question regarding the retention of audit work papers for 10 years. So that's a good question. So basically, see, every regulator or country has some requirements regarding the retention of working paper. It could be 8 years, 10 years, or 12 years. So what we do is we do not delete the data. We leave it on the firm to decide how many years they want to keep it, because even if the regulator decides that it should be 10 years, I might want to keep it 12 years. So the internal policies can be a bit varied firm to firm, so we do not have any restriction on it. You can delete the data as per your requirements. Um, so can a user can a user be changed for one purchase license in case that person has left the firm? So yes, there are features to delete or deactivate the users. So once you do that, you will have one free license capacity and you'll be able to assign that capacity to someone else. Okay, what's the time duration of license? It is on yearly basis plan or what? So it is a annual license. The subscription is annual, and it can be renewed every year. Offline access, kindly tell about the offline access. So we do not have offline access. You need to log in into the system to work on it. Um, Okay. Someone has asked how we can add the final OAR. OAR, I'm understanding, is the analytical review file, right? As preliminary OAR is there, but not the final OAR. So, as I showed you in the planning section, we have integrated the analytical review. I'm sure the question is coming from there. So, OAR and PAR has a difference of adjustments, right? So let me show you here. In this analytics, you will see that we have two tabs. One is the preliminary analytical review and second is the final analytical review. So you can do that both in the same file. Reason being that when a reviewer is reviewing who has not filled it, he can quickly see what was the preliminary review and what was the final review. So it is in the same document. Analytics is a separate tab. So for preliminary, we have integrated it here because it forms an important part in assessing my risk and filling this data here. Otherwise, this is the main analytics part. For security and confidentiality, I would recommend everyone to go through this policy. And if any other specific questions you have, you can always reach out to us. All right. So I think I've covered most of the questions. If there are any more questions, I would be happy to take. Okay, I think.
Yeah, I have certain
Hmm.
summarized with me, so
Okay,
I'll
sure,
take those, just few.
sure.
Is the software currently able to support group financial statements audit?
Yes. So we have introduced a group audit template also. So how you can access it, that I can show you. When you are creating a job, under the template, you will have option to select the group audit. And under the group audit, you will have the option to upload your subsidiary balances and then it will consolidate, give you the consolidated balance sheet, P&L, everything.
Okay. And is it also possible to perform interim audits?
Interim audits, I would not say that there is a separate way to do interim audits in the system, but we do not restrict that the period should be 1 year. So if let's say you're performing 6 months period audit, you can do that and then you can clone the file. But if you ask me about a separate template, currently we don't have it.
Okay, okay. And there's another question that if someone creates a job from IFRS template and then makes certain necessary amendments, and then can he save that job as a standard template similar to IFRS, like another template, which can be used ahead for other jobs? Is it possible?
So, two things here. The template possibility is that one, we could be talking about the audit template, or second, we are talking about the audit report drafting template. right? So both can be done. Let's say if let's I had shown you the report drafting template, which actually comes from library under the drafting template. So you can actually clone that, basically replicate that template and do the necessary amendments, and in the new files which you are creating or jobs you are creating, you will have an option to select your own template. That is about the reporting template. If you're talking about the audit template, you can create a standard job in the system and then you can clone that job. So basically, you can name that as a standard job and you can keep on replicating that and use that as a standard template.
Okay. Checklist of compliance with other laws. I think you have already explained that that can be attached as an additional checklist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just one, we had a few members who joined actually from Azerbaijan auditors. And from there, I had a question that is currently, do we have the software is only available in English language? Is there any possibility, or do you have any other language template?
Uh, I would say we do have, for example, if you see this toggle button, right? So we have multiple languages. One is English, Arabic, Georgian, and Spanish. But
Okay, English, Arabic,
Arabic we
Georgian,
had
and
started,
Spanish.
so yes.
Okay,
But the drafting is not there for these templates, and we have not also, like we are not very much, we have not uh, updated this, as per the new updates in the system. So it was created, but
okay,
based on, how many people are using it and all. So, but if you ask me about the possibility, it is there. So we can do that.
okay. Thank you very much, Ria, for your responses. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would request the Honorable President ICAP, Mr. Farrukh Rahman, for his closing remarks. Mr. Farrukh Rahman is a fellow member of ICAP. He qualified in 1996 and is a partner at AF Ferguson and Co. Chartered Accountants. He has been elected member of the council for the term 2022-2026 and earlier two terms as well. He is the chairman of the Accounting Standards Board and also served in the capacity of chairman and member at various committees, boards, and task forces of ICAP. He has extensively contributed to development of various frameworks and guidance issued by ICAP on technical matters. Currently, he is serving as a member at IFAC's Professional Accountancy Organization Development and Advisory Group. He is a member of Accounting Standards Committee of SAFA and also serves as a board member at SAFA. He represents the institute at the Belt and Road National Accounting Standards Cooperation Forum. He is a regular speaker and writes articles on professional matters. So please, Sir Farrukh Rahman, sir, over to you, please.
Thank you, Ijlal. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Chairman, SMP Committee, Asad Feroz, I can see you. Madam Shilja, thank you so much for such an elaborate, extensive presentation of the audit software. This, I'm sure all the participants would have found this very useful. From the institute standpoint, I'd like to say that this is one of a very significant initiative that we have now introduced a kind of a mandatory requirement for those audits which are companies which are under the Companies Act 2017. They have been mandated to use an audit software, and the reports that they will issue on the financial year end 30th of June 2024 and onwards, they have to have their audit report supported with the use of an audit software. Way back, we at the Institute formed a committee where rather a task force, which I personally led that task force. And we were given this task to have an audit software developed locally. We looked at various options. We engaged some technical entities as well into this. I personally consulted some of the experts who make softwares. We also looked at other details or other requirements to have a software developed by the institute, the cost associated, the maintenance part. So at the end of the day, we concluded that it is best for now to go and have this made available through an international list of softwares that are available. We did a research. We then kind of listed some softwares, and I think up till now, what I have been updated is that most of people, most of the firms are going with the smart audit, and hence I think this is something where people have found it very easy to understand, useful for their practical use by their staff as well. In the process, we also took demos from Sharia before as well, and we kind of gone into quite nitty-gritties. And so we are finally comfortable that this is a software that we can make our members available. There are other options as well. Members are free to go and look for any other available audit software in the market. Why we took this decision of having this mandated? I think all of us are auditors. We have been spent some years in auditing. The way the auditing standards have been developed over the years, these are now quite complex. And to have all the requirements coming out of those auditing standards through making our own paper-based files to look for all the requirements and how those have to be complied with, what are the procedures to be followed. I think that is a significantly onerous task for any firm, or I would say for those firms who are comparatively have less number of staff or less number of partners. So also, if we look at the way certain standards have been recently issued, I can name ISA 315, which is quite complex, extensive, and the whole of the audit is now since risk-based. So this is one of the most important standard. If we take the requirements of ISA 540 estimate, so that is also again very extensive, and to have those requirements met through preparing paper-based manual files is some task. Um, our our thinking is also on the lines that in order for the profession to be ready or future ready, the use of technology and bringing technology into our day-to-day work is also important. The staff of our firms mainly comprises of young students and also young auditors, even if they are qualified managers. So taking into account a significant portion of our people who are engaged in these audits are young, for them to use paper compared to technology would certainly not excite them. So to use technology is something people do look forward to. Using this smart audit software or any other software, there are many things which are like you can generate automatically through the uploading of the trial balance. You can have your financial statements done. So this is little exciting as well, how you map, how you link everything. then every financial statement line item linking it to a particular standard and the requirements and the procedures all documented. This is, I must say, is a great learning opportunity for our people who are going to use this. Lastly, if I also link this to the compliance requirement or putting those files in front of the reviewer, may it be Ajlal, although it's not mandated for you from the APRS standpoint, but certainly for the quality assurance department, that is going to make their lives significantly easier as well. I think to have those reviewed off-site, I think that is also a big advantage. I think that would reduce time. I think since as I said, that most of the people or most of the firms are going to use smart audit. The way the audit documentation is done will also be much more consistent, and that will also facilitate the reviewers at our quality assurance department. Uh, Further linking this um, uh, to if there is any situation where the audit oversight board gets in, I think again the way the software will support the methodology, which is in accordance with the international standards of auditing, would be a significant benefit for the firms to present their files in an orderly manner with proper supports. Um, uh, I'm sure Audit Oversight Board will also find this a very significant benefit from their context as well. Taking everything into account, I think the profession in Pakistan is going to significantly benefit. And we, as an institute, we work in public interest. So all the public interest companies where we have mandated the use of the software, they are the ultimate beneficiaries, because if the quality of audit is going to improve, our image overall will get enhanced in front of the public interest companies as well. I am quite optimistic that the use of software will also be used by those for those companies which are not public interest companies. In fact, the firms who will be using it, they would find very difficult to have two sets of methodologies or two sets of structures to be maintained at their firm. So effectively, what is going to happen is that every audit is going to get converted into a use of a software, and that will certainly enhance the quality of audit and the confidence in the way the chartered accountants and the members in practice are going to serve the market. So this is, I'm going to, I'm sure I'm going to see a significant change in the market. Always, whenever you introduce something new, there are going to be some teething problems. Jalal, you have a big task at hand. You will be bombarded with many, many questions. And I'm sure once the questions are coming your way, then those are going to be shifted toward Sharia. So Sharia, you will also going to receive many, many queries. Get ready for that. But I think, Ajlal, you have a role to play because our members do require support and holding hand. And that is where we all together work towards having a very successful implementation, because as I said, these are for the 30th of June 2024 audit. Most of the audit will be finalized somewhere in the month of late September or early October. That is what my expectation is. So that will be the time where you may get significant number of queries. So get ready for that. Also, I'm sure, though I was not part of the initial discussion, but the way the files are to be archived, there is a specific number of days given by the standard, 60 days to be archived. I think that is one very important aspect of this whole use of the audit software. because the archiving is something where now the reviewers, the quality QAD department, AOB, they're also looking forward to have this particular area covered. And this is one risky area as far as I am aware, because when we make submission to the data requirement of Audit Oversight Board, they do require when was the file archived. So this is going to support significantly. One word of caution, when we do archiving, though it is all software can be archived through the system, but then there are manual files as well. So you will have many documents which are manual. So either you scan those and include that as part of your file, so that when it gets archived, you have the control. And if not, there should be an index of what you have in the paper file, so that that index gets archived, so that you can properly support that the archiving has been done, both what is in the system as well as what documents are on file or the paper files. So with that, I would like to finally congratulate Asad. Asad, you have done a great job to have this arranged. I think your whole committee requires compliment. Together, I think you have made it possible to have, I can see more than 140 people attended. So this is quite good number. I'm sure they have greatly benefited with this session. So good luck to all. Best wishes. You will have a successful implementation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Saab. Thank you for your time. And if there are any still questions and queries, you guys can address to Ajlal Saab, and we will try our best to get back to you. Thank you very much.
you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, President Saab. Thank you, everyone. Allah
Thank you,
Hafiz.
sir.
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you.
Thank you.